To the regularly scheduled public meeting of May 3rd, 2021 of the Township of Washington Township Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers in January, and this meeting has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board, Electronic Message Board, WCTV, and on the Township website. Salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Sue, roll call, please.
Councilman Casio.
Here.
Councilman DeSena.
Here.
Councilwoman Morgan.
Here.
Councilman Sears.
Yeah.
Council President Feeney.
Here. Let the record reflect also in attendance Mayor Calamari, Township Administrator Tovo, Township Attorney Power, and Township Clerk Wachowski. Public service announcement for May 3rd, 2021. Vaccines are available. Walk-ups are now welcome at the Bergen New Bridge Medical Center Alternate Care Facility Annex, located at 230 East Ridgewood Avenue, Paramus. Please note the site is for individuals who live, work, or study in Bergen County. Visit our website for further information. Also, please visit the COVID-19 section of the website and send an email if you're in need of a vaccine appointment. 2021 dog license renewals. Final notices have gone out. If you feel you received the notice in error or you no longer own your pet for whatever reason, please call the clerk's office at 201-664-4425. They will remove your pet from their records to avoid any future mailings. The Township Animal Control Officer will be issuing summons the week of May 10th to those who have not registered their pets for 2021.
Stacy, do you want me to read this?
Why, do I sound terrible?
Or you me? You sound congested.
Sound like you're struggling.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You must have taken over from me last week.
If you want to go, I'm perfectly fine with that.
I just don't want it. You need your voice for later.
Okay, that's fine. Sorry.
No. It just sounds painful. Free wood chips available to residents. With the warmer weather approaching, the Township DPW will be will do some trimming and chipping of tree. I can't even talk now. Limbs on township properties, parks, and would like to offer wood chips to the township residents. The wood chips will be piled at Cherry Field and available for residents to load themselves. Second quarter property taxes are due May 1st. Homestead rebate credits have been applied to and revised bills were mailed. Make sure to pay the adjusted amount due for May 2021. Green Team News. The following projects were approved. May 15th, Lincoln Park and Waterway cleanup, and May 24th, Clark Field cleanup and flower planting.
Susan, it's May the 22nd.
Oh, May the 22nd.
Saturdays,
So
okay?
sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you.
All right, we'll check the website too. Make sure we're all on the same day. Memorial Day Parade, May 31st, beginning at 10 a.m. We are looking for vehicles to drive our veterans individually along with the parade route. Anyone able to help may contact our Public Affairs Department. Vietnam Veterans Day Ceremony. The township held a commemorative program in honor of those veterans, which were recorded by WCTV. For any Vietnam veteran in town or any deceased veteran's family member who would like a commemorative 50th anniversary pin, please email Councilman Sears. Public comment. We ask that callers please turn off or mute their television to reduce any feedback. I struggled too. Sorry.
No problem.
I have a question. On the Memorial Day Parade, I know at one point we were looking for convertibles. Is this any cars, anyone willing to drive, or does it have to be a convertible?
I don't know offhand, but I can find out for you.
Okay.
Okay. So follow-up meetings. I'm thinking Monday of next week, and then Sue, there's something on Tuesday, right?
Next week, actually, Monday through Thursday is open, except Councilman DeSena has an issue with Tuesday and Wednesday start times.
Okay, what time works on Tuesday? Is it 7:30 again,
7:30.
Mike?
30, yes.
Okay, so let's do Monday, Tuesday, and then we'll see if we need Wednesday. Well, actually, you need to advertise for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right?
Yeah, I do. We can always cancel if we don't need it.
Okay, so do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
And you said 7:30?
Yeah, well, let's actually, you know what? Let's do Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Let's do that.
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday?
Yeah, does that work okay with you?
That works for me.
Okay.
7:30, all of them, yes?
Well,
Yes.
Can we do 7 o'clock Monday or does 7:30 work better for you guys?
7:30 works better for me every day.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I will advertise them tomorrow. Thank you
Okay,
very
thank you.
much.
And then I think next week we should be done. Jerry went through the list today. Okay, approval of minutes, September 1st, 2020, public meeting, conference meeting. September 14th, 2020, public meeting, conference meeting. October 5th, 2020, public meeting, conference meeting. October 19th, 2020, public meeting, conference meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll
So
motion.
moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
What are the others?
Me.
Aye.
Aye.
Hi. Steve.
Do we have all ayes? I'm sorry, I may have missed it.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I recused
okay.
myself. I was not attending those.
Okay.
meetings.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, moving on to the report of the mayor.
Thank you. Swim club property acquisition. I will be reviewing their operating numbers and comparing them to other town-run swim clubs in the area to see if that is a viable use for the property going forward. I will have something to share with the council at the next regularly scheduled meeting. The barricade facing Finnerty Place. I met with the DPW at the site and we agreed to replace the barricade that was placed there for safety reasons with a simple post and rail fence to prevent pedestrians and bicyclists from darting into the street from behind the privacy bushes currently there. We look forward to the council approving the capital budget to get started on many projects it will fund. Some of the major items are the rotary paving program, a backup lightning detection system, the new radio for police, fire, and EMS, 2 garbage trucks, and a leaf vacuum for the DPW, a matching grant funding for the dog park, new LED lighting at Memorial Field, and new Scott packs for the fire department. We are waiting for the delivery of the new temporary 2-bay garage to accommodate basic repairs to vehicles while the existing DPW building is demolished, the soil under it remediated to DEP standards, and a new building constructed. Assuming the council approves of the purchase and we can get delivery of the 2 new garbage trucks in time for this year's leaf season, we will immediately retire the practice of using Sherry Field parking lot as a leaf transfer location and transport the leaves directly to the vendor. The appraisal and other preliminary steps to eminent domain are being done in case it is needed to acquire the property at 450 Pascack Road. We have tried to negotiate the 2 remaining property acquisitions needed for the intersection project to move forward. While continuing to negotiate, we will now be proceeding with eminent domain proceedings to acquire the necessary land. If you've driven past the new ambulance fire building, you've seen that it continues to move forward. The time frame for completion is a few weeks behind the original estimate due to the unforeseeable condition that was found in the soil at the beginning of the project. The new operators of the movie theater in town received approval from the planning board and they are now open. Please patronize their business by treating yourself to a movie. I'm happy to report that the conditions are right for our summer rec program to resume this year. We will be using Bethany Community Center again this year. There's plenty of space for us to adhere to the social distancing guidelines. I met with the members of the Recreation Advisory Board last week. We did not meet last year since all the rec programs were canceled due to COVID. Many things were discussed to make the existing programs even better, and ideas for additional programs were brought up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My comments are going to be short just because I'm not feeling 100%. I just want to say I'm looking forward to approving the capital budget, especially the lights for Memorial Field. Glad to hear that the firehouse is moving on. Understandably, it's a few weeks behind, but glad to hear it's not too far behind. And glad that we're moving forward with the budget and have it concluded shortly. Thank you. Vice President Morgan?
Yes, I agree. I just want to say I'm excited to see the firehouse. I know they say there's delays, but I think it's moving quickly. Every time I drive past, I get a renewed source of, wow, this is really happening. So it's beautiful. I'm really happy to see that's happening. The roads look amazing. So that's a good thing. Our town is definitely shaping up. One thing I wanted to mention was I am going to be running a K-2 cheer camp that's going to open for 1 month in the fall. I want to thank the mayor for helping me bring that to fruition. Eamon Toomey and Dan Scuderi is working on that with me. And we're going to try to open it up to Westwood as well. So I am looking for some parent volunteers. There's going to be more information to come on that. So, you won't be left in the lurch, anyone. There'll be multiple ways to find out information about that. What else? I'm happy to hear that there's going to be some return to normalcy for us with the rec program. More people are able to come out. The kids finally, maybe we'll get a summer this year. So, that's it really. Just excited that we're kind of getting back to normal.
Councilman Casio?
Yeah, I'm going to forego my report tonight in the expedience of getting our budget done because it's been taking forever to do. So hopefully we can knock it off in maybe a meeting or two more and get done earlier with it. So thank you. Everything was covered.
Councilman DeSena?
Thank you, Mrs. Feeney. Just thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know that all the parents and community members are happy that summer rec is back. It's a vital part of a children's summer, so I'm glad it's back. On the road paving, do we have a date when the remainder of the roads will be paved? We were promised by the county that the roads would be paved from border to border. That's why we installed the handicap ramps from border to border. I know they're paving border to border in many other towns. The much needed fix on Ridgewood Road was much needed, but the rest of the road is in deplorable condition and needs to be paved. So can we maybe get a timeline of when they're going to come back and finish the job that they promised us 2.5 years ago? I want to commend the Westwood Police Department, and I hope our administration follows suit. Chief Pontillo launched a great asset to the residents. It's a website where you link for overnight parking, any issues, and it sends a link directly to all the different departments of the police department at Westwood. So I hope our police chief, I know Chief Skinner and his department will look into it, hopefully, and we can launch something similar to the township residents to help improve our services. Also, I was reading some things that happened in our neighboring town in New Milford. Their volunteer ambulance corps is having similar, issues with responding during the day, and they've gone to a paid service during the day at no cost to the township. They've entered into an agreement, so maybe the administration could look at doing something like that if the ambulance corps, so if it's needed as much as we think it is, that we can enter in something with New Milford did. It basically, they've hired, I believe, Holy Name Hospital to handle all their calls during the day, and the hospital bills the patient insurance directly. And if they don't have insurance or they're unable to pay, the bill is forgiven. So it's not an additional charge like we were talking about last week, Mr. Mayor, but it's just a service. So this way we can assist our ambulance corps with, dispatching during the day. That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Councilman Sears?
Yes, thank you, Council President. May 15th will be our Lincoln Park cleanup. We'll be picking up debris, cleaning up the waterway. We're also going to be planting the leftover seedlings along the border of Hillsdale and then along the border of the houses. We have about 25 leftover seedlings. We're going to be replanting them up in the wooded area up there. Then the following week, the 22nd, we'll be down at Clark Field. We're going to do a cleanup, and then we're going to be planting flowers throughout the park. I have a arborist that's already picking out the flowers for us to be planted, working with the road department for the watering and everything. Our town garden is going to start in 2 weeks. I met with Mike down Stone Mill, who will assist us with the vegetables and the plants that we need for planting. Along with the we've been meeting with the school system. Our Fill It Forward water bottle project is going ahead. We are meeting in August to get ready for the kickoff date in September. It's 1,700 water bottles and 1,700 digital stickers. We estimate in the first 6 months, close to 80,000 water bottles will not be put into the garbage. They will be refilled and the water bottles will be refilled and scanned. Every time they scan their water bottle, 2 cents will go into a fund to support a water project in a third world country. Also, with the middle school has collected some more items for us to pick up. They've done an outstanding job, and I'm going to be tapping into them to do a couple of projects towards the end of the year. Thank you.
Stacy, I'd like to just add something if I could.
Sure, of course.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I just want to acknowledge, those living with mental health. Please look on the website for information under our stigma-free website. It's, there's a lot of information there. So I just want to also say that if you are living with or taking care of somebody who is living with mental health issues, you're not alone. You're surrounded, you're living in a community that completely embraces mental health, and there's no stigma here. So please reach out. You can reach out to me as from the stigma-free platform, but also just as a human being. I am always available. You can reach me through my council page, my Facebook page. However, I just want to spread awareness. Mental Health Month is May. It's the full month. So that's all.
Thank you. Any other comments from Mr. Tovo, Mr. Power? No? Okay.
No, just one comment to Mr. DeSena's question regarding county paving. We were told that after Ridgewood was complete, they would move on to Pascack, but they did not give us a date.
Okay.
How about the remainder of Ridgewood and Washington, Mr. Tovo?
The only thing committed to so far by the county was Pascack.
I know, but 3 years ago, we did the handicap ramps along the entire roadways of both Ridgewood and Pascack and Washington, for them to pave from border to border. That's what we've been waiting for 3 years.
I understand that, and as I just said, the only thing they confirmed was Pascack.
All right, can we reach back out to them, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Tovo, and see why we're not getting what we were promised 3 years ago? It's our county dollars that, we should.
Well, I'm not saying that they're going back on their promise. They just haven't given us dates for that. So I will reach back out to them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on to public comment. To participate in the general public comment portion of the meeting, please click on the link below to join the webinar. *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. You will be asked to state your name and address for the record, and we ask that only one person speak at a time. There is a 5-minute limit per caller. Please note that this is public comment, and comments by the council, mayor, or administrator will be at the end of the public comment section. At the end, no more calls will be accepted. Motion to open public comment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So you're going to be in control tonight.
Okay.
Is there anybody out there that would like to speak?
We have one hand. Mr. Where did you go? There's Mr. Farrar. Mr. Farrar, you're up. You're on our screen.
He's on mute.
Asking him to unmute.
William Farrar, 2556 Cleveland Avenue. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Farrar, good
Okay.
evening. How are you?
I would just like to ask, maybe Mr. Sears can comment on this later on. When he says clean up Clark Field, I wonder what that means, because I see the DPW over there cleaning it up and mowing the lawn and taking away the garbage and so forth rather regularly. I applaud him for his efforts, but I hope he's not doing what their job is, but anyway.
No,
the-
Mr. Farrar, it's just a cleanup around the areas where we're going to be planting the flowers.
Okay, good. Thanks.
You're welcome.
The next thing I wanted to ask was, I wanted to congratulate the town on replacing that structure that covers, and Clark Field that covered that power connections on the corner by Cross Street. That the thing that the replacement structure is much nicer, very, very good. And I also want to commend them for the way they've handled the replacement of the dugout down there. The only suggestion I had was yesterday I was down at Sherry Field watching my grandson play baseball on Sherry Field East. I was sitting in the stands and I got to that bottom step. I was sitting on the top and I got to the bottom step. When I stepped down, that was a deep step. And I was wondering if there's possibility you can look at whether you couldn't put a lower level structure before you hit the ground, because it seemed to me that one step was could be dangerous. The other thing I wanted to go back on was the agreement with the church. As I understand it, has a 30-day cancellation clause. I've been down at Clark Field to watch these kids play ball the last couple of weeks, and I can't understand why, if we're going to be taking the leaves directly from wherever we picked them up and taking them to the site that we disposal site, rather than storing them down there, why that field can't be used to store 25 vehicles or 35 vehicles, how many spaces we have rented from the church at no cost. There's no need for any structures because all you're doing is parking vehicles, from what I understand. Then the other thing I wanted to comment on is you're going to introduce Ordinance 2109. The $1,910,000, is that the capital budget? And then I think that you should go through A and come up with a list of the items that total $349,000. A vacuum machine and forklift, Scott packs and with bottles.
Mr. Farrar, we lost you here. Your voice changed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Some of the items listed here seem to me like the Scott packs and bottles. Tom can comment on this more than I am. I think they're expense items. I don't think they really capitalize those items because we seem to buy them every year. So why they're being put in a bond issue, I don't know. The lightning detection system, I know you get all upset about that, but if you go back to the mayor's July 8th letter of 2020, he says in the first line, we were notified in May of last year that the system was going to be down because of construction at the school district, at the middle school. We didn't do anything about it. Emerson, I know, did it, notified the people more than once. The Westwood did the same thing, and so did the schools. So why the taxpayers are now being asked to pay for a second backup system because we didn't do the job the first time, I think that's wrong. And the one other item I wanted to talk about was item D, upgrading the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems at the library, the fire, and the fire. I hope that's clean energy, because you've got an ordinance that you passed for the adopting the clean team. The green team is calls for clean energy, and you have two previous resolutions calling for clean energy. The second item, I don't understand why the fire department building needs an upgrade to the exhaust system when it isn't even been built yet. And why wasn't it included in the original specs, and how much is it going to cost us? I think this whole ordinance, the way it's written here, is just, it's got everything in it but the kitchen sink, and it's all summarized and collapsed together, so nobody can really see what it is. So I think you really should break this thing down and list off and justify each item before you put it out for bonding or pass an ordinance on it. That's all I have at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farrar. Have a good evening.
Same to you. Hope you feel better.
Hey, Mr. Farrar, I'm going to remove you.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
Okay. All right, now we have a telephone call.
Good evening. Hello?
Yes. Hello?
Yes, could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, I'm sorry. I wasn't sure if you could hear me. Yeah, it's Mike Proto from 850 Ridgewood Boulevard East.
Good evening, Mr.
And
Furto.
I
How are
was
you?
just- Good evening. Hope everybody's well. I just wanted to call with respect to 450 Pascack. Obviously, I understand that there's potentially some other acquisitions going on in the town under consideration right now. I'm just a little bit concerned about that. I do appreciate the motivation behind looking at the swim club property at this point, but I just want to express again my concern about 450 Pascack being the priority at this time for the town, considering the proximity of that property to the school and the ball field and other residents along Ridgewood Boulevard East. And I do apologize, I jumped on a little late. I wasn't sure if there was any indication about where we stand with the appraisal. So those are my two areas of concern.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Furto. I see Mrs. Lipnick. Good evening, Mrs. Lipnick. If you want to unmute.
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Sure. Julianne Lipnick, 184 Finnerty Place, Washington Township.
Thank you.
I'm calling specifically tonight to personally thank the members of the DPW. I have lived here in town at this location since the early 80s. I have never, ever seen the library look more pristine now that they have taken over the care. It is such a pleasure to sit on my front porch and look at the site. It's absolutely beautiful. I saw a young man the other day with a dump truck full of black mulch, and he was so meticulous in laying it, especially around the memorial. It's just absolutely a beautiful site. And I think members of the DPW should be recognized for the job that they're doing there. The only problem that I see that exists, and unfortunately, it's just people, dog droppings. It's really a crime to see how much dog droppings are there on the library property, on the site, along the walkway. I was wondering if by any chance, I've seen it in other towns where there's a post and poop bags put on the, in a dispenser. I know that people walk, they don't have them. You can't, I guess, I don't know why they can't always remember to have them with them, but it is a bit of a problem there. And I was just wondering if there could be some solution into taking care of that. The other is on the 22nd of April, the Community Life. I'm sure you all saw the front page of Emerson Firehouse with the drop box for new legacy books. I looked into that, and that is actually a fundraiser. Unfortunately, books cannot be put into recycling. They can only put into the trash, and it ends up in our landfills. But this particular company takes the books and they reuse them, they resell them, and the municipality gets a cut. How big or small it is, I don't know. But I'm going to be honest, I'm one resident, and I went into my basement, and between some of my college books and my kids, I could probably fill up one of those drop boxes 10 times over. And if we could do something like that, have that drop box somewhere, I would be happy to put my books so that my town gets the money as opposed to having something for another town. So I was just wondering if that could be looked into as a possibility. And my last question is, Mayor, regarding what you said about a post and rail fence across the street, can you just be more specific as to where that fence is going to go? Because currently that gate that sits across from our house, that still has the orange barricade. And that gate on record is an emergency entrance for the shopping center. Should there be a fire, all they would have to do is just plow through that gate to get in. So I'm wondering, is that where you're referencing another post and rail fence to go at the foot of that driveway? That's all I have for tonight. Thank you again. And please do pass on the commendation to the members of the DPW.
Thank you, Mrs. Lipnick.
You're quite welcome.
We have a phone call, another phone call.
Hello?
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 Yes, good evening. Could you please state your name and address?
Yes, Janet Sopkowitz, 849 Robinwood Road, Township of Washington. Actually, my first question was going to be about the status of the appraisal for 450 Pascack Road, but the mayor covered that in his opening monthly address. My second question is in an article in the Pascack Press on April 26th, it was written by John Snyder, I believe. In the article, he states that in reference to the trucks being parked at, the council church, he says that the deal obligates the town for certain maintenance and repairs and has the town taking the church under its insurance for the use. So my question is, what does it mean that, the church is going to be insured by the town or under the town? Is that going to affect any of the claims that the town has, like something for premiums? Will the premiums go up? How will our dividends be affected? We get dividends based on our record. And, if the GIF is aware of this. So I hope that somebody could answer that for me later. Number three, in the past 3 years, or 3 years ago, we were told that the town got $1 million grant to reduce utility bills and make everything more energy efficient. And every year at budget meetings, council people are kind of surprised at how the utility bills have really gotten up. So Mr. Tovo said at the last budget meeting that we're still paying off the grant and we have to pay it off. I don't understand, if it's a grant, why it has to be paid back. Usually grants, are not paid back. And if it was $1 million grant, and that really should be clarified, like how many more years does this grant have to be paid off until it's done? So I hope somebody could explain that also. My next question is, this is really an easy one. I know that on the township website, you usually put in like what the resolution topic is or the ordinance, but it would be good if during a meeting you say what the ordinance topic is. A lot of people may not have read it, but they might be listening in and they're not really knowing what subject you're talking about. And just one other thing, speaking of insurance, in regard to, having our trucks being parked in different places, I would like to know if the town ever got the $8,000 back from insurance that was paid for the broken window at Bethany. Thank you very much for your time this evening. I'm looking forward to your answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Sopkowitz. Have a good evening.
Okay. I have one more Nope, two more. Hello? Hello? Is anyone there on the phone?
They're muted.
Yeah, I'm asking them to unmute. Hello? Okay, I think they just, I think they left.
Yes.
All right,
I don't see anybody else. Motion to close public comment portion.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Tovo, Mr. Mayor, would you like to answer any of the questions that came in first?
I'll be happy to answer the ones I can. Thank you.
Okay.
Obviously, we'll have the DPW look at that step at Cherry Field. Don't want any unsafe conditions at any of our fields. The church agreement, let me say, at least for my part, the reason for putting vehicles there instead of Cherry Field is those people near Cherry have suffered a lot during the years with the leaves, with the PSE&G project. Also, we heard from a number of residents who didn't like trucks going in and out of a park area where there are a lot of children potentially crossing the parking lot. So those were my few reasons for putting the vehicles at OLGC instead of instead of Cherry Field. The lightning detection system has nothing to do with the mistake I made last year. Just has to do with that if the school system is ever out of service, we do have a backup system in place, again, to protect our families and people who visit the parks. The HVAC systems at the library, I believe they are all clean energy certified materials that we're using there. Thank you, Mrs. Lipnick, for recognizing the DPW. They don't get enough recognition, so I will make sure that your thanks are passed on to them. As far as dog droppings and poop bags, I'll run that past the people at the library, get their opinion on it. Be happy to look into a book recycling thing, because can't do enough for recycling instead of filling our landfills. Post and rail fence. Emerson Fence is going to come out and take a look at it. And since they do this all the time, we were going to see if they had any input on the placement of it. But yes, I believe your comment is correct that it will be at the foot of the driveway and will be a breakaway type thing that the rails would break away in case of an emergency where a vehicle had to drive through them. Let me see. Maintenance and repairs at OLGC. That is not correct as far as the whole facility. We are responsible for maintenance and repairs in the one parking lot that we are using, not the whole facility. The utility bills, I believe, are still high because I believe some of the money was a grant and some was a no interest loan. And so I believe we're paying back the no interest loan part, not the grant part. And the window at Bethany, I do not remember offhand. I'd have to check into that. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Mr. Poller?
Yeah, on 450 Pascack Road, first of all, there isn't a question here of whether it's a priority. It is a priority. And just because the town is looking at other properties or doing other things, I mean, that's what the town is doing. But the 450 Pascack Road remains a priority. It's a process, though, and it's going to be handled through negotiation, litigation, whatever it takes. But as far as the appraisal is concerned, I should have the actual final formal appraisal in hand this week. But I am going to say this just because this keeps coming up, and I just want to, just get this out there. So it is a negotiation and a litigation matter. So, and it basically is something the council needs to decide in closed session. And it's not the wise thing to be putting out thought processes, approaches, strengths, weaknesses, and things of that nature when you're doing a negotiation or you're litigating. So as far as, you know, what's happening in terms of arguments and values and numbers and steps and things of that nature, I'm going to have to leave that to the council because as we all know, those are discussed pretty much in closed session. It's an ongoing thing. And, you know, the closed sessions have not been, you know, every week because we've had the budgets continuing, although we did have one last week. But it is moving ahead and it is a priority. And that's all I can say on that. As far as the insurance with the Olgc situation, I thought I discussed that last time, but I'll go over it again. When in a commercial setting of any kind or partial use of property of somebody else, it's very common to have the user also have insurance. It doesn't mean that it's taking away the insurance of the so-called landlord, but it is insurance, additional insurance, and we get those things from contractors and things of that nature. Environmental companies that come in and put in monitoring wells. We have additional insured for the town. So it's a very standard situation. The one thing that I did have in the agreement was that it had to be approved by JIF. After the last meeting, I did send it to JIF, as I said I would. I got some feedback from JIF. I passed that along to the attorney for the Archdiocese. So that's in process right now. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Power. Mr. Chova, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, to follow up on the mayor's comments regarding PSE&G, we are paying back the low interest portion of that, approximately $2,000 every month. The entire bill for Bethany included more than just the window. It was also normal wear and tear items. And when we submitted the total package to the JIF, the window was below our deductible, and that was the only thing that we cover. But because it was below, we had to bear the cost of that. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Casio?
Yeah, to Mr. Ferrara's point regarding bonding, you know, and Mr. Ferrara, I'm sure is well aware of this, that whenever we bond, someone bonds something, whether it be the school or the municipality, it has to list every possible thing that monies can be used for. Unfortunately, it's very generalized that way, but that's the formula that is accepted. I can understand why we really want to be clear on what we're going to use that money for instead of putting a litany of things that we might use it for. I think it should be more specific, but that's the reasoning why we list all those items and give it a price tag. Because if we don't put that item in there and we bond the money, we couldn't use it for another item. So and Mr. Ferrer, I'm sure was well aware of that, but I don't know if the public is aware of that. So that's the explanation on that. And that's my only comment for this evening.
Councilman DeSena?
Thank you, Council President Feeney. To Mr. Ferrara's point, yes, that is the capital budget. You know, we're about to raise our debt for the taxpayers by almost 30. You know, we have $6 million of debt right now for the firehouse project. You know, we're going to add another $2 million. You know, we're planning on adding $2 million tonight. I asked for what the cost was. Mr. Tovo did provide them. But I think when you're going to raise your debt by almost, 30% of what it is right now, I thought Mr. Beinfeld should have been, we've always had Mr. Beinfeld here. He's always explained to us what we're getting into. He's explained, how he's going to go out to bond, for his bond anticipation notes if he needed to, what the costs were for the bond, because it's going to be more than $1.9 million. So, I'm not happy with the way things are worded in this. I mean, the fire department building needs an exhaust system. It is not an upgrade of an exhaust system. So, just the way it's stated, I asked for what kind of lighting we were putting at Memorial Field, and I've still not received anything on what type of lights we were purchasing to replace the LED. I know they're LEDs, but are we getting new poles? Are we getting new conduits? Are we getting new wiring? What type of lights are we getting? There's a whole bunch of things. To Mr. Protos, I guess the mayor and Mr. Paulo have addressed 450 Pascack Road as much as we can. Still, I asked, 2.5 years ago, like Mr. Proto said, I asked for a feasibility study to be conducted for the swim club to see what feasible land uses could be done there for both the municipality for recreation and both for zoning, and we never received it. And while I was away on vacation, the council passed a resolution for an $850,000 purchase of the swim club. And I was just wondering, we have no justification for that $850,000. I'd just like to know where that number was pulled from and be supplied with more information on that. I know the mayor said he was looking into the surrounding swim clubs for operating costs, but I just want to know how we entered into an agreement, last month for $850,000 for a resolution. Because it's a lot of money. You're talking between the two, you're talking another, $1.5 million in debt service for another bond anticipation note. Mrs. Lipnick, yes, the DPW is doing a phenomenal job. I saw the library. It does look phenomenal. So yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for getting that done. That's all I have for tonight.
Council President Feeney, can I just add one thing just to clarify?
Sure.
A little misunderstanding. So we did not enter into an agreement with the swim club. What was passed was a resolution which just outlined the continuation of possible acquisition, not any agreements. If you look at the resolution, it's got about 9 conditions. It's subject to a definitive agreement. It's subject to it's subject to everything under the sun, applicable law, all sorts of requirements. It's not an agreement. It's not a commitment.
It's a resolution.
It was a resolution of authorizing for negotiation, but that's all it was. It was not a commitment. I just don't want people to get the wrong idea that, we entered into $800.
But you insert, Mr. Paulo, you inserted an $850,000 amount.
No, I got the number, yes, but as far as
I just like to know where that number came from, because I don't have any.
I just wanted to make the point that it's not an agreement. I just wanted to.
Well, I did correct it, saying it's a resolution for $850,000, but I just like to know where that number came from.
Okay.
It was a negotiated number.
Mr. Power, anything else to add?
No, that's it.
Thank you. Councilman
Ms. Feeney, I
Sears?
have one thing,
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Tova, go ahead.
just to clarify on the bond ordinance prepared by Mr. Beinfeld. The cost for his services and the bonding costs are included in that number.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
And Mr. DeSena is correct that Mr. Beinfeld normally does come in for a presentation when we're getting ready to bond. We did have that discussion. He's looking at the numbers, and sometime during the course of this year, it's very likely he will come in and present our options for bans and bonds.
Okay, yes, I do remember that. Thank you. Councilman Sears?
Yes, thank you, Council President. Yes, we're not doing the DPW's work. And I got to echo Mrs. Lipton. Bill Lawler and his crew, they're doing an outstanding job on cleaning up the town and the parks. I can't praise them enough for the amount of work that they're doing. And as far as the fire department, I would ask anybody to please direct their questions to the fire director, Bill Bilius, for answers, because I do not want to get in the middle of what they're planning, and I was not in the loop of planning any fire department or things like that. So I cannot answer Mr. Farrow's questions on those issues. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, that's a really valid point. Mr. Tovo, could you pass along the questions to Director Bilius, please?
Certainly.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Vice President Morgan?
Yes, I just wanted to, it was already covered. Everything was covered. All the questions were answered, but I wanted to comment on Mrs. Lipnick's kind words. I just think it's really nice when the residents do, we all know that when there's an issue, people will call in to voice their concerns, but to hear someone call in to give a compliment to people who, to just anyone. I mean, I just think it sets a really nice tone. So I appreciate that. I think it was a really nice thing to do, well-deserved compliment and a genuine one. I wish we would have more of those. So, and then also her suggestion for the drop box for recycling books, like reuse, to reuse them. I think that's an awesome suggestion. Would love to look more into that. And I think the little doggy bag things is a great idea as well. I know there'll be a nominal fee associated with that, but I think it would be a nice thing, especially around the library. And that's it really. I just wanted to thank her for her kind words.
I do want to say I support 450 Pascack and the swim club acquisition. I think that the timing is right for the town to move forward with acquiring additional open space. The doggy bags are a great idea. I have seen that. I've actually seen that especially in Florida along West Palm, walking by the golf courses along the water. So I do think that's a really great idea. Thank you, Mrs. Lipnick, for calling in about the recycling of the books and for the compliments to the DPW. They definitely are well deserved. Regarding the capital budget tonight, I met with the lacrosse team last week. They actually called, they sent a couple emails and they called, and I went over there in the evening, and it's a shame to see the lights the way they are. And I know that the replacement of the bulbs is going to be 2 LEDs is going to be key. And I know that, Dan Scuderi, the rec team, the DPW have worked hard to put that proposal together. So I'm excited to pass that this evening. And hopefully as soon as we pass it, we can make the field great, especially when we have towns visiting us, have pride in our fields. And I do appreciate the lacrosse team inviting me out because it was definitely interesting to see how the lights affect the game. So that's all I have for this evening. Thanks. Okay, sorry, I just lost my page. Okay. Oh, the other thing is just one other comment, which I did forget to say in my opening comments, if you'll just forgive me. I am going to be sending out the pictures to the council about moving back to Chambers. I reached out to the company that we were talking to. They're going to give me a price on the, I guess you want to call them partitions in between each one to see how much it would be. It would leave everybody in their individual space. And I'm looking to find out from other towns how they're handling the public to see what we're allowed to do to keep us compliant with the rules. So I will absolutely update the council hopefully on Monday. All right, if anybody has any questions or concerns, if you could please email me, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Mrs. Feeney, is the mayor on board with opening of the building, since I know he's responsible for opening of the library and the public buildings? So, Mr. Mayor, are you on board with this, or before we go any further? I just want to know, because we do all this research and, it's your decision. You're the mayor. So I just want to make sure you're on board with this.
Let me say I'm not on board or off board with it yet. I'd like to see what Council President Feeney proposes and make a decision at that point.
Thank you.
And Stacy, if I may comment real quick, when Desiree asked about the cars, I texted Daisy Velez, our public affairs director,
Okay.
and she said all car types work, but convertibles are preferred.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good thing.
I'll bring the saws all over, Desiree. We could just make a quick job of it. No problem.
I've always wanted a convertible.
Okay, Matthew will show me which blade to use. It'll be fine. Okay. Moving on, ordinance adoption, second reading, ordinance number 2106. Ordinance providing for the acquisition of new and additional equipment for the use by police department of the Township of Washington in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, and appropriating $115,000 therefore from monies in the capital improvement fund of the township. Resolution number 21-192, authorizing second reading and opening of the public hearing for ordinance 21-06. May I have a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
I'll second. Sue?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. In order to participate in the public hearing, please raise your hand. Good evening, Mr. Ferrara.
William Ferrara, 2556 Cleveland Avenue. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely, Mr. Ferrara. How are you?
Just quick, thanks for answering the question on my comments to everybody.
No problem.
On this particular ordinance, my question, do you have a breakdown of how much of this is going to be body cameras and computers, in park computers and tasers? And my understanding was that the state is going to fund body cameras for all the police departments in the state. And if that's true, should we not modify the ordinance to say we're going to get a grant for all of that? You don't need to borrow the money for it. So, and then the
So
other
this-
thing,
Oh,
given
sorry.
the recent events in Minnesota with respect to the use of tasers, I think I just, hopefully the police chief can comment as to what, when they will be used, how they'll be used, how many are they going to be? Just, I just don't want a horrible thing that happened out there to happen in Washington Township. That's all. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Ferrara. Mr. Tova, I believe the requirement is that we fund the body cameras up front. Is that correct?
That is correct. The state has said they've actually allocated funds for reimbursement. So we have to make the purchase and have the items on hand before that can occur. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but the lion's share of the monies are for the body cams. And one of the reasons why it's in a standalone ordinance is so that we can pay it down with the money received from the state.
Okay. Any other comments to Mr. Ferrara's questions?
No, I think any questions on the deployment of tasers should only be answered by the chief.
Okay. Chief Skinner, I see that you're on. I'm going to allow, would that be okay with everybody to answer the question?
Yes.
Please.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you
so
for joining.
In regards to tasers, New Jersey is one of the strictest states on the use of tasers. And in fact, we have not been able to purchase tasers as of now because it requires to have a camera. Axon, who makes taser, no longer makes the unit with a camera attached because most departments across the country have body cameras. So the plan is, now that we're purchasing body cameras, we would purchase tasers. But I think the important thing to know about tasers are that they are a less lethal weapon. The idea is to use tasers in emergency situation instead of using a handgun. There are pretty strict rules when tasers can be used. It's kind of a deadly force situation. So, I could explain it in great detail to Mr. Ferrara. However, if he wanted to go to the Attorney General's website, there's volumes about the tasers and the rules. As far as the body cameras, I believe tonight's ordinance, I have it up on my screen, is 115,000. That would include the 33,000 and change for the tasers, which is a 5-year plan. And then that would include both vehicle and body cameras for a total of just under 80,000. It's 79,955, something like that and change. So, that's the point that we're at tonight. I just do want to indicate that I really hope we pass this tonight. Sue would then advertise the ordinance tomorrow. That would give us 20 days and we would get our body camera order in kind of just under the wire. We won't have the body cameras actually in place by June 1, but the fact that we have them on order and are moving forward will bode well. And yes, a good part of that money will get back. We don't know the exact amount of reimbursement. It depends how many body cameras are requested across the entire state. I just read an email saying that 504 police departments have applied for the grant. We are one of them. So if you do the math, there's probably about 35,000 police officers in the state of New Jersey. If the state buys every one of those officers a body cam and you take the 57.5 million that's in the grant, we're probably talking somewhere close to $1,500 per camera. I'm also hearing in meetings with the state police chiefs that it may be a little lower than that. So we're probably looking at, somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 per camera will be reimbursable. About a quarter of that would probably come a little earlier on, sometime over the summer, and then the rest would come probably later in the year. But again, please don't quote me on that. This is just what the state is telling us, and they're not 100% on dates or anything. Right now, they don't even know how much they're going to give us.
Stacy, you're on mute.
Thank you, Chief Skinner. Would you mind staying on for the next caller?
Absolutely.
Mrs. Feeney, can I ask Mr. Poller a question in regard to Chief Skinner's comment?
Sure.
Can we make this an emergent ordinance so this way we can get the order in sooner? You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry. It's a Byfield ordinance, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, my sense, I believe since it's a capital expenditure, you can. If it was a bond ordinance, you couldn't. But I really prefer to get him to comment on his own ordinance.
I just want to save the chief the 20 days if we can.
I understand. Yeah.
Mr.
Can we
Pollard?
pass it that way? Can we pass it as an emergent?
Mr. Chova, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I did speak to Mr. Beinfeld regarding this. He's going to get back to me as early as tomorrow with that answer. He believes that we can do that.
Okay.
So
I was thinking, why don't you do this?
Can't pass it as emergency.
One at a
tonight. I think
time,
Mr.
please. One at a time, please.
Why don't you pass it? If it's not applicable or effective, you won't do it, but at least you'll have it done. So I thought you could do it because it is a capital rather than a bond ordinance. But like I said, we want to make sure with Mr. Beinfield. But I think it's a good idea to pass it, and the efficacy of it can be determined after we hear from him.
Okay.
Mr. Toho, as soon as you hear from Mr. Bonfield, could you spoke to him earlier today?
I did. I was speaking to him again tomorrow morning.
Okay,
Can we
great.
pass-
If you could
Mr.
let us
Feedy,
know
can-
as soon as you speak to him, that would be great. Thank you.
Mrs. Feeney, can we pass it as an emergent if we get that far? And if we have to, like Mr. Poller saying, not, enforce it, we won't. But if we can, then it saves the chief 20 days.
Well, let's see after Mr. Chovo hears back from him tomorrow morning, because he already
No,
spoke
I'd
to
like
him
to
earlier.
just I'd like to do it tonight. And then if we have to
I think the best way to move forward would be to pass it tonight, and then hear from Mr. Bonfeld, and then go from there. I think if we have to take Mr. Pollar's advice, and since Mr. Chovo already reached out to him to get an answer.
Mr. Poller said to
get back
pass it
to us.
tonight.
Pass it tonight, but check on the emergent part of it.
But Mr. Poller said we could make it emergent tonight. And then if it's not applicable, it wouldn't be applicable.
That's what I think you can. I think you should do that. If that's what you want, if that's what you're looking for, and the one.
I'd like to do that.
I'm just saying, if the one day makes the difference, you can pass the resolution. As I said, the efficacy of it will reconfirm tomorrow. If Mr. Beinfeld says yes, he agrees, then it's good. And if he says no, you can't do it because of the kind of ordinance it is, then it's not effective.
And it's 20 days from now.
Right.
Yeah.
20 days.
So we're
after
gonna pass-
publication, and Ken, you would have to do a resolution then. We'd have to have something for tonight then, right?
All right. Let me get to work on it then.
Mr. Pollard, in my conversation with Mr. Beinfeld, we can pass that resolution at our meeting next week.
That's what I was thinking of.
All
That's
right.
what I was thinking of
Yeah,
also.
you could do that too. You could do that.
Let's pass it
Wait
tonight,
more days.
and then we will hear from Mr. Bonfeld, and if it's possible, then we'll do it on Monday. Which,
Yes.
Chief Skinner, does that work for you?
Yeah, that'll work fine. The earlier we get the order in, the better,
That's why I'd like to get it
You're
in
3
tomorrow.
weeks earlier.
Yeah, if you get it Monday, you'll get it in 3 weeks earlier.
Well,
That
let
would
me
be
ask-
wonderful. Yep.
Let me ask you this. Do you have a budget meeting this week coming up?
Monday,
Oh, not till Monday?
Yes,
yeah,
Next Monday.
yes.
this coming Monday, yeah, which would be the, is it the
10th.
10th, I believe.
Well,
Yes.
June 1st is his drop dead date to have these. So he's gonna have 3 weeks ahead of time if
Yes.
we do what we do tonight and then Monday. So he should be fine.
This way we get an answer also.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me just say thank you. I appreciate that, and it'll certainly help.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe we have one more caller.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Thanks to you, Mr. Chova, Mr. Power, and Councilman DeSena for making this suggestion. Thank you for Mr. Chova reaching out too. Looking forward to hear the answer as soon as possible tomorrow. Good evening. There's a caller on the line.
Yeah, good evening. This is Michael Ullman.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Ullman. How are you?
Very good, thanks. So Michael Ullman, 2 Clark Avenue. Just a question. You touched on it, but the funding of the tasers was a 5-year program, if I'm not mistaken. So we're paying for that, everything up front, and is any of this being funded via bonds or notes, or is it all coming out of capital surplus?
Mr. Chova, do you want to take that? Or
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
This money is coming out of capital surplus.
To be paid back when the state reimburses us.
Understood, but the full amount, the 5-year plan is going to be paid up front. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah. Yes, it has to be to the vendor.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling in, Mr. Ullman.
Mr. Mayor, based on the chief's reimbursement scenario, I think we were going to buy 22 body cameras. So out of the 80,000, we're only looking at recuperating a quarter of the money, about 20-something thousand, 25 tops. So, it's not going to reimburse the entire ordinance. It's just going to reimburse some of it, correct?
Yeah, correct. I didn't mean to imply. If I did, didn't mean to.
I don't see any other hands raised. Do you, Sue?
I don't either.
Okay. Motion to close public comment.
So
So
moved.
move.
I'll second. All in favor? Or I'm sorry,
Aye.
Sue, roll call.
Okay. Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay. Motion, so we're going to motion, and then if we need further discussion, we'll do it after motion, okay? Everybody good? Motion to adopt ordinance number 2106 at second reading by title. I'll make a motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Stu, roll call, please.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay. Ordinance number 21-07, calendar year 2021 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. Resolution number 21-193, authorizing second reading and opening a public hearing for ordinance 2107. I'll make a motion. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Sue?
Councilman Casio,
No.
Councilman DeSena,
No.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes.
Stacy, you need to open up the public hearing?
Yes, I'm sorry. Please click the link below to participate in the public hearing. Please raise your hand if you'd like to speak. Okay, I do not see any hands raised. Sue, you agree?
I don't see anybody.
Motion to close public comment, public
moved.
hearing. I'll
So
second.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Motion to adopt ordinance number 21-07 at second reading by title. I'll make a motion. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to remind the public that just because the bank is being established doesn't mean it has to get used.
I
Stu,
like
roll-
to remind the public that even though you are not using it, you are still collecting it.
Stu, roll call, please.
Councilman Casio,
No.
Councilman DeSena,
No.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Ordinance number 21-08, an ordinance restricting the sale of marijuana and related products within the Township of Washington. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 21-08 at first reading by title. I'll make a motion.
moved.
May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Sue, roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Resolution number 21-194, authorizing publication of ordinance number 21-08 and schedule a public hearing. I'll make a motion. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Sue, roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Power, for getting that through.
Yes, thank you. Super important.
Ordinance number 21-09, bond ordinance appropriating $1,910,000 and authorizing the issuance of 1,818,000 bonds for various improvements or purposes authorized to be undertaken by the Township of Washington in the County of Bergen, New Jersey. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 21-09 at first reading by title. I'll make a motion. May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Sue, roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Resolution number 21-195, authorizing publication of ordinance number 21-09 and schedule a public hearing. May I have a motion, please?
I'll
So
motion.
moved.
Second?
Second.
Sue, roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Sorry. Ordinance number 21-10. An ordinance providing for the improvement of Ridgewood Road, Hudson Avenue and Bridge Street in and by the Township of Washington in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, and appropriating $410,000, therefore constituting proceeds of grants from the New Jersey Department of Transportation. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 21-10 at first reading by title. May I have a motion?
I'll
This
move.
is
So
for
moved.
Ridgewood North, correct?
Second. I'll
Mrs.
second.
Feeney? Is this
I'm
for-
sorry.
Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
is this
you.
for Ridgewood Road North?
Ridgewood Boulevard North.
Ridgewood Boulevard North? Does it matter, Mr.
Yes.
Powell, that we have the wrong name in there? I'm sorry.
Okay, where's the,
That's what I'm looking for.
Sue, Ken, would it be okay if Sue crossed it out and
Yeah.
wrote Boulevard above it, and then that's fine? Sue, if you wouldn't mind, please.
It's for the Ridgewood Extension.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Say that again, Mr. Tovo?
It's for the Ridgewood Extension.
The Ridgewood Extension. Okay.
Where does that exist, Mr. Tovo?
That's between, I'm sorry, Mr. Tope, go ahead.
Between Linwood and East Glen.
So that's Ridgewood Boulevard North.
No, that's not. That's Ridgewood. That's actually Ridgewood Road. When you
Ridgewood
make the
Road.
left, when you
Right.
make the left, that's still Ridgewood Road.
It is
Yes.
still Ridgewood Road.
Where
So
Washington
Ridgewood Road,
Grant
you come
is.
down from Linwood, you make the right onto Ridgewood Road going past Bakari, and that takes you all the way down to Westwood. That's one road.
Right.
Yeah.
If you,
So
so
which part are we paving? Which part is the grant for? I was told this grant was from Linwood to Ridgewood Road, Mr. Tovo. Is that correct or not?
No,
It is from Linwood to East Glen.
Mike, the verbiage is correct on that.
Right.
because it's still Ridgewood Road, even though I know what you're talking about. It doesn't seem like it would be, but it still is right there.
It's
Okay.
confusing,
But
but
it
it's
is
correct.
Ridgewood Road, the whole road.
It's an L. Ridgewood Road's an L.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you take it from Westwood, go past the light on Pascack, the first block past Bakari, you make a
Right.
left-hand turn to Linwood, that's
Yeah.
all Ridgewood Road. If you
Yep.
made the right, that would be Ridgewood Boulevard North.
Goes in front of the, what's the name of the condo over there?
That's
Washington
Grand, Washington
Washington
Grand.
Grand, yeah.
Well, what I remember when this grant was presented, we were paving in front of Washington Grand and the temple, which is not the temple anymore, but that's where I thought we were paving.
We are.
It is.
It is,
That's the name of the road.
It is Ridgewood Road.
Okay, all right.
It is. If I pulled up Google Maps just to make sure, and it is actually, if you turn left there, it's Ridgewood Road. If you go straight, it's East Glen Ave. That's where the break in the road is.
Right.
Okay. All right.
So I'm not
And
changing
Ridgewood
anything
Bowl-
then.
Mike, Ridgewood
correct.
Boulevard North is the road behind Bakari. That's Ridgewood Boulevard North.
Okay, all right. So the street has three names ultimately.
Sort of. Here, I'll send you a picture.
No,
I'll take
you're
a picture.
100% right. And there's too many Ridgewoods in one
Yeah.
town. There's way
Right.
too many, I know.
Yes.
But two, the verbiage is right. It doesn't have to be changed.
All right.
Thank you, Councilwoman Morgan.
You are welcome.
We're good.
I'll send you a picture. It's not very, it's not.
But we are paving, just so the residents are clear, we're paving the section between Linwood and
East
East
Glen.
Glen.
East Glen.
Yeah, okay.
Just sent it to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the name of the condo. I can't remember. That one's over there. It's, oh, Washington.
So we're doing
Okay.
a roll call?
Is that where we left off? That sounds good.
I believe so. Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Resolution number 21-196, authorizing publication of ordinance number 21-10 and schedule a public hearing. I'll make a motion. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second.
Sue, roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, resolutions and consent agenda. The following items have been determined to have the unanimous consent of council and will be enacted in one motion. Should any item require independent consideration, any council may have any such item removed from the consent agenda. Does anyone want to have any of the below resolutions removed for discussion for the consent agenda this evening?
Do we have 21197 pulled?
Sure. Anybody else?
Nope.
Okay. Resolution number 21-198, authorized to apply tax refund arising from overpayment of taxes as a credit against contractual obligation, block 1306, lot 2, NTE, not to exceed $12,573. Resolution number 21-199, authorized refund of recreation registration fees for lacrosse Christine Carrion in the amount not to exceed $50. Resolution number 21-200, authorized submission of municipal alliance grant for fiscal year 2022. Resolution number 21-201, authorized award of bid for recycling vegetative waste to Environmental Renewal LLC, 27 Andrews Drive, Woodland Park, New Jersey, 07424. Resolution 21-202, Authorize award of contract for grant writer to GLD Associates, Inc., 98 Larned Road, Summit, New Jersey, 07901. Resolution number 21-203, authorize award of bid for curbside collection of recyclables to Bulldo Container and Disposal, Inc., South 112, Route 17, North Paramus, New Jersey, 07675. Resolution number 21-204, resolution urging the legislature to amend Senate Bill 3454, also known as Assembly Bill 5342, to permit law enforcement officers to perform their duties without substantial risk of civil criminal liability. Authorize resolution number 21-205, authorize refund of engineering escrow fees 602 Walnut Street, block 4205, lot 31, in the amount not to exceed $163.75. Motion to approve consent agenda resolutions. I'll make a motion. May I have a second, please?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I just have a question on one of them. Is that okay?
Which one?
I just want to know how many bids came in for the recyclables from the Bulldo, that Bulldo got awarded, and I want to know how many bids there were.
There were 2.
Okay, we don't get to know that. We don't get to see that before.
We have to, by law, go with the lowest bid.
I know. We don't get to see those bids, though.
Mr. Tovo?
You can see them.
You can see it.
Okay, you can see them.
Okay.
Public record.
Yeah.
I have a question for the, Mr. Tovo. Even though he's the lower bid, we look at the service that is being delivered by this particular group. Does that take into consideration that the service isn't up to par? We still have to go with the lowest bid?
Lowest responsible bid.
Say that again, please.
The lowest responsible bid. Has to be responsive, which it was, and lowest.
So we don't really have to worry about their customer service or satisfaction of the residents?
Well,
Wouldn't that be in consideration?
the local public contracts law governs awarding of contracts, and it's very specific about the grounds that you can reject bids. I know there was, maybe thought process about bags and things of that nature and other things, but the bid goes out and it protects the taxpayer. They get the lowest responsive bid, and it's a matter of state law.
So the quality of service is not taken into consideration, just the bottom dollar line?
Unfortunately, yes, Mr.
That's correct, unfortunately.
Not happy. I mean, the best thing to do would be to, lobby the state legislature to change it.
That's not going to happen.
Still an option you have.
You're going to do that, don't stop there.
Mr. Tovo, could we send the Bulldo company a request? I offered 2 safety vests to 2 of their garbage men when I was outside my house the other day. I mean, the waste management guys are all in yellow and reflective striping. These guys are running around picking up recycling and T-shirts that are non-visible vests. I mean, I don't want to see, God forbid, one of them get hit. But that's best management practice. Proper PPE for their workers. They're avoiding that, and they have for years. I've offered these guys vests all the time. I get them from free at work, so or I buy them myself. But it's a dangerous thing, and if the other people have to do it, so do they should too. So if we can call Bulldo up and just put them on notice that their guys got to wear vests.
I will do that tomorrow.
Could you also put them on notice that they got to stop backing down streets? They hit Cross Street, then they back the truck all the way down to Washington Avenue, down Beach. They do that a lot.
Oh, they do it all. Yeah, they go up Lincoln and then they back down the whole way. Tom.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's ridiculous. It's dangerous.
But if the guy's not having vests, I mean, it's dangerous.
Well, if we're going to get on that tirade, let's just make sure they open up garbage cans and see what's in it instead of passing some by, just assuming that it's one object and not another in there. So.
And Mr. Tovo, I know we're kind of getting away from the resolution for a second, but while we're on the topic, unless I'm just not aware of it, there is still no clear direction for the residents who have, I called Boldo and spoke with them, and they could not give me a clear direction to what the residents do who have garbage bags. The only thing I was told is they will honor and take back bags for those residents who continue their service. So I said, well, what about the ones who choose not to continue your service but have a plethora of bags? And they said, we're really not sure yet. So I was asking if there was any way that we can kind of get some more, a clear direction as to what people do with their bags that they have, because we were told in good faith that they would take them back. I didn't, when I called to find out how to let the residents know about it was only when I was told about those provisions that the secretary stated that if they continue with us, we'll take them back. So can we do a follow-up call with them to see how to get the word out and what their actual process is?
I had a phone call with them as recently as Friday and discussed all of these matters. I was due for a phone call back earlier this week. I will make sure that occurs and find out what path they're going to take.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Tova, what's the status of our municipal garbage bid?
We're getting off topic.
I know.
Can we get on to the agenda? We got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, this is not on agenda, guys. This is not. We should not.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We just had to cover that because I saw that we were awarding him the bid. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So motion to approve congested agenda resolutions. I'll make a motion. May I have a second, please?
So moved.
No, you had a motion and you had a second. You just need a roll call.
Okay,
Or
roll
all in
call.
favor,
Let's
actually.
do roll call since we had discussion. So
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
yes. Resolution number 21-197, authorized payment of bills, April 15th, 2021 through April 28th, 2021. I'll make a motion. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Sure. Mr. Tova, on page 204 on the, there's a charge for SCS Contracting Inc., proposal number 1421P, option 2. Can you tell us what that's for?
Mike, what was that page, please?
Page 204 it's the second line down, SCS Contracting Inc., proposal number 1421P, option 2. I'd just like to have a little more information. Was there an option 1? Was there an option 3? Was there an option 4? For 10-7.
Which list are you on? The purchase order list or the other one?
I'm on the
Excel.
Excel. I'm on the Excel spreadsheet list. It's quicker. So 204 of the Excel spreadsheet list.
Does this have to do anything with the bill list? Maybe I'm a little confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does have to do with the bill list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
204.
Resolution 21-197.
Amount of $10,000.
$10,750,
If I can
Mrs.
find it on here.
Yes.
This was for the footings for the new, for the temporary DPW garage. Option 1 and option 2 were as follows. Option 1 was for a full slab. Option 2 was for strip footings. We went with the strip footings.
Do we have plans for this? I know I was supposed to call you. I never got a chance to call you. Can you provide option 2 to the council, please? And the permit from the building department for option 2?
I can, and I can answer your question regarding the permit. This has been designed, the footings were designed based on general, general specs by the vendor providing the building. Our building department has requested site-specific. That's being worked on now, so there's a slight delay in that. But yes, I can give you the specs and the permit for that.
Thank you. On page 3 of 4, there is 2 invoices from Dutra Excavating and Sewer Company, one for $475 and one for $5,075.
I believe both of these are for the removal of the lines for the tear down the DPW building
Removal of which lines, Mr. Tovo?
for sewer line.
And then we have the following lines are Iris Environmental Laboratory for asbestos inspection agreement, cost per each polarized lights, temporary bulk sampling, cost per each polarized lights. I don't know what that means.
This is also for the tear down of the DPW building. The asbestos inspection had to be done before tear down.
Okay. On page 404, Boswell Engineering temporary debris management.
How far down?
It's 3 lines from the bottom on page 404.
I have to check on that. I don't recall it.
Is that an application number, Mr. Chova? 148556?
It very well could be. Let me check and get an answer.
And I'm sorry, I had one more. I skipped it. I was looking at Iris. G&J wiring. What's all this wiring we did in the building? Relocate 3 telephones, relocate fax lines, service visit.
The relocation of the DPW from their soon to be old building to downstairs in Borough Hall, downstairs in Town Hall.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tova. You'll get us an answer about that Boswell one tomorrow?
$54 one?
Just like
Yes,
to
that
know
one.
what it is, that's all.
Okay, that's what I was just asking. That's the one you're talking about?
Yes.
As long as Boswell's available, I'll have an answer tomorrow.
$52.
Says road opening. 5275,
Yep.
Yeah, third from the bottom on the 4th page.
8556. No, I don't think so. It's the same thing, same total, but different number.
No, it's a different one.
Yeah, 5275. Okay. Temporary debris management application, temporary debris management application,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
general engineering. That's what that one is. That's what that says, so no further information. Sorry.
Okay, are we good for the $52?
I just want to, just if Mr. Tova could let us know what it's for tomorrow, that's all. I'm okay with it.
Okay, good. Sue, roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, adjournment to conference agenda. I'll make a motion. May I have a second, please?
I'll
So
move.
move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sheets 10 mLs.
Mrs. Feeney, I could not find the topic from Memorial Field lighting presented by the mayor in our packet, so I
Yeah,
didn't know.
I think the sheet's missing, but it was on the agenda. So,
Yeah, but did we get that sheet?
yeah, it literally, I could share it. It just said Memorial Field, the mayor. That's it.
You just sent it, you're saying?
No, I said I'll send it right now. Hold on one second. I'm just looking for the sheet. Hold on. Public meeting. Just wait, I'm in the wrong email. Oh, you know why? Because I have a topic in my subject field. That's not gonna work.
Mike, what is it that you're looking for? I'm sorry.
The backup to your typically when stuff gets put on the conference agenda, we need backup for it, and I don't have any backup. And I was wondering if,
For this
what's
one.
that?
It was part of the capital budget. That's what the backup was.
Well, actually, it's really just a comment.
Yeah, but it's regarding the capital line for the lights on the field.
Yes, it is.
Sue, could you forward it out? I cannot locate the email.
I don't recall seeing an email. The
I
mayor-
want to make sure we're on the same.
No, could you send out the line with the conference agenda, please, for the Memorial Field? Actually, you know what? I just found it. I'll send it out right now. Thank you.
Because the email is for the closed session.
Right.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not talking about that. Okay, you can go ahead, Mr. Mayor, and I'll forward it to the council.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I had some concerns, and then we also had our Recreation Advisory Board meeting at Memorial Field under the pavilion. The lights are an immediate issue for the nighttime sports. So many of them are out. And I think, as you all know, we have a lot of trouble getting those old bulbs, ballasts, and stuff like that. And since it's on as a capital project, I've asked Mr. Tovo to please work with the bond counsel and the CFO to see if there's any way we can accelerate that one line item in the capital budget, because we don't want to even try to find those old bulbs and spend good money after bad on them. So just wanted to let the council know I've asked him to look into that to see if there's any way to accelerate it, because it is a safety issue at night on the field. So that was my only comment. Just wanted to make the council aware of it.
Should we not be using the field, Mayor Calamari, at night since it's a safety issue?
They haven't indicated that it raises itself to that level. I'd like to see what comes up this week and report back to the council next week's budget meeting.
Okay, I just want to make sure if it's a safety issue to make sure, that.
So this would take care of, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Mike. Go ahead.
All right. No, go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna make sure everyone is aware. It happened to us last year. So this is gonna take care of all of the issues that when you shut off the lights and you go to turn them back on, it takes like an hour to warm up before they pop back on.
Yeah, LEDs will not have that problem. It's because of the ballast with the old lights that
Right.
that's just a function of ballast. I believe, Mike, you as an engineer, you can probably agree with that.
It's a very antiquated system, Desiree. So
Yeah.
the mayor's right. The new bulbs will go back on quicker than an hour.
I can't even tell you how much we appreciate that. Like anybody who uses that field, especially in the fall.
Oh, it's not fun.
Yeah. And again, just so the public is clear, and the council, in case anyone's not, these are just new LED bulbs that will go into the existing fixtures. This is by no means a major lighting thing, to relight the whole field with new lighting. It is just to put new current bulbs in the existing fixtures.
That's wonderful. What a huge impact for a fraction of the cost. So thank you. Thank you.
And they can reuse those bulbs, correct? In the new fixture, hold them for reserve when we redo the lights. Is that correct?
Obviously, don't want to speak to that because when we redo the lights, I don't know when that will be and what the technology will be. So obviously,
Okay.
and we will, but I just don't want to speak for it.
I understand. No
Yeah.
problem. Thank you.
This will be a great improvement also. I mean, the lacrosse teams will be really, really happy. I know football
Cheer.
will be happy. Cheer will be happy. And even like the baseball, softball games that go a little later.
Mhm.
And soccer when it gets cold. And, I know that they're going to be very happy. That hope the lacrosse teams are listening.
It's a huge impact. I mean, not just
Absolutely.
anybody who uses that in the after, 6 o'clock at night from September on.
It's bad. There's so many dark spots because of all the bulbs being out in a row. It's
Huge impact. So thank you. This is great.
Yeah, and when I was there with the lacrosse team, it was so funny. We were standing there and we turned around and 2 bulbs went out, but it was that windy night.
Mhm.
And then like 25 minutes later, the bulbs, like one of them popped back on. And
That can't be a good sign.
it's not. We were like, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sure that they'll be very happy. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to the DPW, to the rec, also for doing the research and getting that together. That's
That's a
great.
great solution. Very good solution to a long-standing problem.
Okay. It's 9:15. I'm gonna say let's go to closed session and then come back. So
You don't have, well, all right, then we'll take a 5-minute break and I'll have to send out a new invite. That's all.
Okay, why don't we
fine
do
with
that? So we'll take a 5-minute break and we'll do that.
All right, we'll do closed session first.
Yeah, let's do closed session first.
Stacy, if it matters, I'm the one who asked for the closed session item. You know, it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes at the end of the meeting. So I leave it up to you if you want to switch what you just said based on that comment or not.
Let's do that.
Okay, well, I thought maybe that Mr. Pollard could go.
Yeah.
I thought maybe,
That sounds good to me.
it's fine. Okay, so we'll go to budget then.
Actually, Ken, I don't need you to stay on for even this closed session.
Okay.
It's really just a
Mr.
negotiation.
Mayor, I'm not, are you comfortable, you're comfortable not having our attorney on for closed session?
I think, okay, I think, let's do closed
I'd like
session.
Mr. Fowler there, please.
All right. Okay. No problem.
Okay, so
Just do closed session now.
no, let's do, okay, we're gonna do budget and then we'll come back. I mean, we're not, it's 9:30, it's 9:15, we're gonna do a little bit of budget and then we're gonna come back on Monday, so.
Wait a minute.
Wait. we
Closed
doing
session, we
or
need to
what
do
are we doing?
closed session or what are you doing?
Closed session.
Jen, you confused me.
I confused,
You guys all changed the tables on me, so I'm just,
all confused.
okay, I would like to do closed session first,
Yes,
okay?
let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, that's the plan, that's what I would like to do as council president, if that's okay with everybody.
Okay.
Okay,
And then
Sue,
after
so we're
that,
gonna
if I-
take a 5-minute break and then come back and motion for closed session, and then after she sends the link out. So you have 5 minutes, okay?
Uh-oh.
Can I interject before we do that?
I'm
With the
sorry,
few
yes.
With the few items we have to finish up on the budget, we can do that on Monday, if you like. We only have a couple of things for clarification.
Yes, that's true, we do. So why don't we do closed session and then we'll finish up on Monday? I think that sounds fair. Okay?
We're not coming back after close then, Mrs. Feeney, right?
Do we, Mr. Mayor, do we need to come back after close? No.
Definitely not.
Okay, all right, so fine. That sounds like a plan, Mr. Tovo. Sue, I'm gonna let you send the link out and then we'll motion after everybody has the link. to
They
make
all
sure
have the link,
everybody-
no, you have the link to the closed session already.
Okay, could you, everybody please check their email now to make sure they have the link for
Yes,
closed
we have.
session?
Got a
Yes.
reminder about 8 o'clock.
Okay,
Yes, it's here.
Everybody's, Mr. Sears,
Yes.
Steve, you have it?
Desiree, Doc-
I'm checking.
Okay,
I have,
Councilman Cassidy,
got it, okay.
Mayor,
yes.
I have
and
it.
I have to give you one.
I have it.
Okay,
So
just
Ken,
wait
I
one
will
second.
send you yours.
Do I have one?
No,
She's sending you one now.
I will send you one.
Okay.
Okay, resolution number 21-206, shared service agreement with Westwood. Motion to enter into closed session. I'll make a motion. May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ricky, you don't have to, you could be done.
We take a 5-minute break, Mr. Feeney?
Yeah, of course, we could have a 5-minute break.